So the first thing is just to find the swirl. The swirl is where all the hair starts to grow, and that's where you learn about the growth pattern of the hair. So you're just gonna start by drawing a straight line out of the swirl, and you're really just looking for essentially where the hair wants to lay naturally. And that's how you want to cut the hair, wherever it wants to lay. So now we gotta connect this swirl out into the front of his hairline essentially. So now we're gonna come over here. I'm just gonna draw, using the wide teeth of my comb, I'm just gonna draw a line going forward just like this. And now you're gonna see I get all of these comb lines, right? So now all I'm gonna do is pick the comb line that I want to wherever I wanna section out this hair. You see how easy it was? And now I have a completely straight line exactly where I want it to be at, where I can comb all this out the way. I'm gonna take this section away from his hairline. So I have all this hair, this is what I'm going to be cutting. And now I'll go ahead, come to the other side, exact same thing. Using the wide teeth of my comb, just draw all these comb lines forward. And now just pick that comb line that helps you connect this swirl into the front of this hairline. And then I'm just gonna section off this little corner, comb all this hair away. That's why it's also a lot better to wet the hair, because you can, it stays, it's almost like parting himself. And if you want, you can turn them into a unicorn. Boom. Now we need to get this flow, and we're gonna be blending it into a number 2, but how can I blend this into a number 2? I'm gonna re-wet the sides a little bit. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to place this to keep a lot of flow on the sides. Because if I went all the way up here and took off all that length, it wouldn't really have the flow that I want on the sides. I need it to be a little bit lower, actually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the hair lower than what I usually would. Even though the parietal ridge is all the way up here, I'm actually gonna have it lower so I can have a little bit more flow on the sides. And then I'm gonna just connect it into the parietal ridge in the back so it doesn't get too bulky. So I'm gonna pick my first reference point right here, fingers tight to the scalp, using the fine teeth of the comb, and just cut my first section. And then I'm gonna go one more time. But I like to work in reference points, right? So what do I mean by reference points? This is my first reference point, but now I'm gonna come to the back and find out where's my parietal ridge. It's about here. Let me pull out all this hair and cut a line right there. So now I know that I have to drop my line. You see it's lower here and higher here, so the line has to drop. So now I'm gonna go and just start to angle my fingers down so that I can get to that next reference point right here. And now you can see I can just connect my 2 reference points right there. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. I have my reference point back here. I'm gonna place it right where I did on the other side. Fingers tight to the scalp, using the fine teeth of my comb. Because when I use the fine teeth of my comb, it gives me way better tension. And that's gonna give me a way more accurate cut. Reference here, my point right here. So now I can angle my fingers down so that I can meet it up. Right here, point to point. If you ever want to adjust your line, you always can. Right here. And now you can see it's a little bit lower, right? But look at this nice flow that I have on the sides. Exactly what I wanted. And I can still blend all this up into it. Now we're gonna go and connect the top into the sides. So now I'm gonna go and just comb all this hair back. Just throw a little bit more water into the hair. Comb all this hair back. I got clippers right here. So now I'm gonna go comb all this back. You can see his hair is naturally parting, right? You can just see right there, boom. And it's naturally giving me a part right here. So that's the part that I'm gonna take, boom. And now, the reason why that first line was so important is because it's gonna help me connect the top into the sides. So now, if I comb all this hair down, look at that. You can see there's some long pieces from the top, but look at all those short pieces. So now I can go and just connect the top into that first line that I did. Take one step and just connect it over. And I'm gonna do this until I get to the ear. Everything behind the ear is just gonna connect straight up. Everything in front of the ear, well, that's a different story. But we're just gonna do this for now. Connect it right through. And you can see now I'm at that half ear point. So now, what I'm gonna do is create another reference point. I have my first reference point here. I got my another reference point right here. Comb this down, take off about that cool inch, go just like this. And I'm just angling my fingers up until I get right here at that reference point. Same thing over here. Angle my fingers. I'm gonna angle it up towards this part over here. Take off an inch, boom. And look at that. Now I can connect it straight into that other point. And then we're gonna comb everything back. Now to cut the top, you're gonna see how cool this is. I'm gonna drop the chair all the way down, and then I can pick the hair up. And look at this. You see how I have a short point on both sides? I have a short point on my left side right here and a short point here. And now I can just cut the middle. Short point. And now just to cross check, I'm gonna stand to the side, pick up the hair, and see how it's sitting. And if there's anything that you can see, this is a point that I didn't, you can see this is a point that I didn't cut. Well, now I know that I need to go ahead and redo this part because that was a pretty big miss, right? So boom, now I can see it right there. Now it's important to know why that happened because the sections that I took on the top wasn't big enough. So whenever you're doing your sections on your top, you want to take, you don't want to go too far back each time you pull the hair. You want to go a little bit back at a time. And now you can see a lot more even. Now to make sure that this back piece is not too heavy, you're gonna pull it out just like this. And you can see that I don't really have no crazy hair that's super long. Now we're gonna have our number 3 guard and just go into here. Go straight in with our number 3 guard. And right under our number 3 guard, we're gonna be doing our number 2 guard. Using the comb to make sure to comb everything down. And then number 2 is just going straight into that number 3. Make sure to fold the ear down and just get all this hair right here. And you can see I was able to blend from the 2 into the scissor work just with these simple steps. And now I gotta go ahead and line them up. You see everything here is blending in super nice. Now I'm gonna go through and just clean some of this up. So I'm just gonna come right here and just take off the ends, clipper over comb. Now I'm gonna show you guys, if you guys wanted to clean it up with clipper over comb or blending shear over comb or with scissor over comb, how you could do that. Now with this, it's literally just gonna be taking the comb and scooping it out, just getting the ends and just using that 3 or 4 that you did down here as the guide. That's all you're really doing. That way I can show you guys all the ways that you guys can actually clean this up. So that's one right here again. So you can see that's how you would clean it up with clipper over comb. Now what about blending shear over comb? So you can see I have a bit of a weight line right here. I'm gonna just take the comb. Now that's why it's really good to get one of these bright combs because it contrasts over the hair a lot versus blending in with the black. I'm just gonna hit the tips of the hair. Some people go in and they thin out hair like this. You're just gonna go to just hit the tips of the hair. Do a couple passes, comb it down, a couple passes. And I'm trying to keep this still blade in line with the bottom of the comb. So it goes like this. So as the comb moves, the scissor moves. Right there, just keeping them as boom, motion. Now what about regular shears over comb? How would I clean it up with that? Now, that would literally just be the same thing. So I'm gonna comb, I'm gonna keep blade, I keep my steel blade right here, and just open and close just like that. And just hit the ends of the hair. That way you guys see the different ways to actually go ahead and clean this up. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and line them up. And then from here, now for the lineup, all I'm gonna do is just use my 245 trimmers and just get the ends of the hair. Now, whenever you're doing the sideburns, wherever it is, wherever it ends at the ear, just keep that in mind so you can do the same thing on the other sideburn. So you can see it ends at the top of this little nubby thing, whatever that is. So when I do the other sideburn, I can end it at that exact same point. That's all you gotta do. Same thing, I'm gonna fold the ear down and just clean all this up. And just be careful, especially if you're using sharp trimmers, that this area around the ear is pretty sensitive. So if you use a sharp trimmer and you're using a lot of pressure, that's really not what you wanna do. Boom, boom, boom. So now you can see my client's hair is looking very flat with no texture. So I'm gonna style it up with some 245 products. So to style my client's flat hair, I'm gonna be using some destructible clay and some sea salt spray from 245.